but like, what is it like living with me? And she goes, well, you want to be, I'll be honest. I was like, what? She's like, it's kind of stressful. I said, what do you mean it's stressful? She's like, well, you're always freaking out about something. Stuff that's not going to happen. You're always worrying about something. I'm like, all right, I'll give you that one. Like, what else? And she's like, well, you're always like learning new things and you think I want to hear about it. So here's what I found out about myself, y'all. Apparently, I stress people out. Now, here's what I know about you. You do too. You know, some of you stress people out because you're negative all the time. And some of you stress people out because you're positive all the time. And you wake up in the morning all chipper. And you're like, hey, and everybody's just, you're stressing me out. Just I haven't had my coffee. I used to work with this guy, man. I had a 4:45 a.m. shift, and I'd come in, and he was already there. And he'd be like, hey, Joel, you ready for a good morning? I'd be like, shut up, Joe. Just shut up. Joe, I'm trying to wake up here, man. And he'd be like, yeah, it's a great morning to be alive. And I'm like, you're stressing me out, Joe. Some of you are chipping, and some of you are like, well, I just can't imagine I would stress somebody out. Yeah, some of you guys are like, man, I'm just a chill presence in my home. And your wife's like, you need to be worried about this, sweetheart. You're stressing me out. And you're like, I'm not worried about it. I know, but remember last time we didn't worry about it and it happened? Another one used to happen with Emily and me. When we first got married, she'd be like, we should do this and this and that. And then I'm thinking, money, 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 money. And she's like, and I'm like, how much is that going to cost? And I'd be like, Emily, we can't do this because this, this, and this. And she's like, hey, just dream with me. And I'm like, you're dreaming, stressing me out, woman. Like, yeah, you all relate to this, right? And we get in these relationships, we get in these patterns, and you're like, man, he always stresses me out, or he's stressing me out because he should be worried about this, and his passivity is just concerning me. We all tend to stress each other out. So I want to talk this morning about self-awareness. The way we are impacts others. Now, here's the thing. It is up to other people. Their response to you is their responsibility. However, a wise person knows that if you want to live in long-term relationship with people, you'd better pay attention to the effect you're having on other people. If you want to stay employed, you'd better pay attention to the effect you're having on other people. If you want to keep your employees, you'd better pay attention to the effect you're having on other people. And this is what Paul talks about in Romans. He says, "For by the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think." He's talking about humility here, and we're going to unpack humility in a second. But humility is just saying, have an accurate view of yourself. And he says this, don't have a more high view of yourself than you ought to think, but to think with sober judgment, each according to the measure of faith that is given. Now, sober, we think the opposite of sober would be drunk, right? And some of us, honestly, we're a little drunk in our relationships. We're just kind of living for the moment. We're not thinking about the impact we're having on others because we're so self-focused. Self-focus is thinking you're the center of the world and it's all about you. Self-awareness is recognizing the things that I do, my behaviors have an impact on others. And I bring some good things to the table, but sometimes those good things can also be bad things and can harm those around me. And the best way to figure out, to get some increased self-awareness, is to find somebody around you and ask them this question. Hey, what's it like living with me? And that's a scary thing to ask, isn't it? Because especially if you give them permission to tell the truth, I'm not going to say anything. What's it like living with me? And here's what they're going to do. They're going to tell you, and they're going to go, well, that's not true. Because remember, you think you're cool. I don't stress people out. That's a good thing about me. Ask the people who work for you, hey, what's it like working for me? You've been wondering why they've all been bailing. You can't keep good people. What's it like working for you? Oh. And then immediately when you say, no, that's not true, I want to encourage you to do this. The next step is to depend on the Holy Spirit. Love this verse. King David says it. He says, search me, God, and know my heart. Like, what's my actual motive, God? What's my actual heart in this, Lord? Test me and know my anxious thoughts. What's that thing that just keeps rolling around in your head that's causing all the anxiety? Lord, show me, what is it? What is that? My wife says I'm anxious and worried all the time. I just think I'm planning. She says I'm anxious and worried. Is that true, Lord? What is this? See if there's any offensive way in me. Lord, is there something I'm doing that I actually think is really great, but it's actually driving people away from me and it's destroying relationship and community? Whatever it is, you go, Lord, search me, know me, check my heart. Is what they're saying true? If it is, I want to change. I want to be all that you say that I can be. I want to make sure that I'm not only lifting myself up, but I want to lift up others around me.